That's me. Yep, the baby. And that's my grandmother. Perhaps the sweetest lady I've ever met. And you guessed it. She gave birth to my mother, who taught me nearly everything I know about cooking. And she learned from her mom. And her mother's mother, Mama Mildred. Cream of mushroom soup. One of those recipes you make for what you can do with it. Sure, you could eat it as it is, but it's best used in other dishes, like a broccoli and cheese casserole or beef stroganoff. One of those we will definitely make at a future time and probably refer back to this video here. But anyhow, starting with 2 tablespoons of melted butter, we will cook down our diced onions and celery, maybe a little garlic if you like. And after stirring occasionally and cooking for about 5 to 7 minutes, we will add our mushrooms. They do not have to be diced small because we will be blending in the end. However, you will probably want to cut them or slice them thinly so they can cook evenly. Many cooks, when they're starting out, when it comes to mushrooms, forget that mushrooms are full of moisture. So when cooking them, you want to make sure you give enough time to cooking them, because otherwise you may not get the texture that you're aiming for if you don't give it enough time to cook down and cook out a lot of the moisture. Since we use 2 tablespoons of fat, in our case butter, you could use vegetable oil, coconut oil, whatever you prefer. But since we use 2 tablespoons of fat, we're going to use 2 tablespoons of flour. This will thicken up our soup, because ultimately our end goal here is to have a thickened cream of mushroom soup. Once everything is cooked down, you would want to give about 5 to 7 more minutes of cooking to the mushrooms before adding your cream or your milk, or buttermilk if you prefer. Some people like that, or soy milk, or cashew nut milk, or almond milk, and whatever it is that your diet dictates. But this kind of gives you an idea of what to do. And like I said earlier, in a later video we will make a broccoli and cheese casserole, or maybe a squash and cheese casserole. Again, we'll figure that one out a little later. But once everything is blended up together, you can get out your container, because you're going to want to cool it. This is something you would probably want to make, obviously, right before you either make the casserole, or you can do it the night before. But either way, it is something you can make and have on hand, and it's better than store-bought.